I don't have very strong feelings about Benedict. However, I didn't like a lot of John Paul II, so I had a tendency to see him in a bad light.
Why didn't you like a lot of John Paul II?
Because I felt that he should have been reforming instead of doing all this apparent worldwide.
But I thought you said earlier that he's just handcuffed by people around him.
No, I never said that. I said that Malachi Martin advanced that. I said that I thought his extreme position was rather silly, but what I said is we cannot dismiss the concept of a conspiracy and a prisoner of the Vatican automatically. We cannot do this.
But if you think it's silly, why would you bring it up in the context of exonerating him for his actions?
And I wanted to point out that one person who called himself a scholar on this claimed to have inside information and was, quote, popular and frequently considered an expert on Catholic and political internal matters.
But you think that's silly, so why would you advance it?
I said I thought it was silly to hold it as extremely as he did.
Oh, boy.
That's the same.
Here's the heart of the issue. Can you name one person who claims to be Catholic who is, in fact, not Catholic, but a heretic, and tell me why he's a heretic?
I probably could, but I think it would be calumny, so I don't think there would be good reason.
That's the point. You have to. That's the whole point I'm proving here, that your position is apostasy, because for many reasons, but it requires you to acknowledge, as inside the church, a person who believes anything. Anything. Okay? And let me ask you this. What could a person who claims to be Catholic do to be considered a heretic? Okay, give me a scenario.
Oh, my gosh. Anything. You could deny the Immaculate Conception.
So if someone denies the Immaculate Conception, he's outside the church?
No, he's a heretic.
He's a heretic. Oh, well, Benedict...
Again.
Okay, let's work off that. So Benedict XVI, is the Council of Trent on the same level as the Immaculate Conception?
I'm not sure what you mean by same level.
As far as the dogmatic status of the teaching of the Council of Trent, you would agree that's the same as the dogmatic status of Ineffabilis Deus?
Yes, they're both part of dogmatic status.
Right, so to deny one is equivalent to, it's not worse to deny the Immaculate Conception.
Well, I think it is, but that's my...
It's no different from the standpoint of heresy. You would agree? It's equally heretical.
I don't know if they're equal. No, I wouldn't agree with that.
Oh, boy.
What's wrong?
That's heresy. That a person must believe with divine and Catholic faith all those truths which are proclaimed in the written word by the Church's solemn magisterium or in her ordinary and universal magisterium. That's the teaching of Vatican I. You cannot deny any dogma. It's not like, well, it's heresy to deny the Immaculate Conception, but it's acceptable to deny the Council of Trent. Do you see that that's ridiculous to assert that?
I never said that.
But you're not denying it. You're saying that you're not sure. You're not sure whether it's okay to deny Trent.
No, I never said that. I said it was a sin.
But you said categorically that to deny the Immaculate Conception is heresy.
Sure. It's wrong.
Okay, therefore you would have to say that to deny Trent is heresy.
I thought I did.
You said it's a sin. You refuse to say it's heresy. You're saying, I'm not sure. I'd have to look into it.
Heresy.
Okay, that's my point. Therefore, by virtue of the fact that you admit the guy who denies the Immaculate Conception is a heretic, John Paul II and Benedict XVI deny the Council of Trent and Vatican I. They are therefore also heretics.
I understand what you say. I simply do not accept it as authority alone.
Well, anyone can research it. You can find the pictures of his representatives signing the joint declaration. You can see the pictures of them putting the pen to the paper. Cardinal Cassidy, okay, signing that the Lutheran agreement, faith alone is not condemned by Trent. All the other Lutheran heresies on justification, that you're at the same time justified and totally a sinner, it's all not condemned by Trent according to John Paul II and Benedict XVI, the agreement they approved. Okay? So you have to admit they're heretics.
No,
but you won't. That's where you totally contradict yourself.
No, I don't admit to something that I don't accept the truth of. Now, if what you're saying is correct, and by no means am I doubting your credibility, I believe that you believe you're correct. If what you're saying is correct, and if that document is as you describe it, and if his officials did sign something, then he allowed an evil thing to occur. But that's immensely different from causing an evil thing oneself. They're both sins, of course, but it's definitely different.
No, it isn't.
Those are big ifs.
Well, here's a point. Now, let's say, okay, God forbid, but let's say someone drew up a document denying the Immaculate Conception. Okay? And his friend, goes around saying, I approve this document. He didn't write it, but he goes around, giving talks about how great the document is. Is that friend there a heretic?
Sure.
Okay. John Paul II approved, so did Benedict XVI, approved what was written by Cassidy and approved under him. They've given speeches on it saying how great it is that it was signed. So it's no different. They're heretics.
Once again, that's if that you are proper.
Okay, so you would admit that if those are accurate statements, they are heretics. So basically, anyone can go verify that they actually did approve. Okay, it's quoted in our book, it's quoted on our website. They actually did approve these agreements. That's just a fact. And so basically, you're admitting they're heretics, and once you admit they're heretics...
This is exactly the point under contention. Simply calling something a fact does not make it a fact. We are trapped by mass media, by internet lunatics, and by the fact that I hold that there are a large number of people who are in the mass media, both in and out of the official church, who are quite interested in trying to tear her apart. I argue that they will present things in the worst possible fashion. But I'm saying, again, think about this. The whole, much of the homosexual priests, the molesters, the horrible scandal that took place, was completely misrepresented in the press. It was almost always represented as dealing with an adult man and a young boy, when it was almost always an adult man and a teenager. Is that acceptable? No, of course not. But it's immensely different. They were not cases of child molestation.
But there were cases of that.
That's why I said almost completely.
Well, but we're not talking about the ABC News or CBS or CNN. We're talking about the official Vatican newspaper. We're talking about the official documents of Vatican II. And have you seen the video footage of John Paul II at Assisi?
I saw some of it.
Okay, what do you think of that?
Oh, I thought what I thought was disgraceful. But I also thought at the time that what occurred, especially with the Buddha statue, could absolutely have been defended.
The Buddha statue?
Yeah.
So someone can go into a Buddhist temple and bow before a statue of Buddha.
No, what I'm saying is the presentation of the Buddhist statue could have been stopped primarily only by physical force.
The what?
It would have been perhaps more of a scandal.
No, he went into the Buddhist temple of his own free will. He talked about how much he wanted to do it beforehand. You don't have a problem with that?
It was a Buddhist temple in Assisi?
It was a Buddhist temple in Bangkok, Thailand.
Sorry, I thought we were talking about Assisi.
No, there's so many different acts of apostasy. You could literally teach a course on it.
I misunderstood.
No, well, the Buddhist statue placed on the altar at Assisi, that's different. Yeah. Okay, that's not even something worth mentioning. I mean, that's something he's responsible ultimately for, too. But Assisi allowed animus, okay, people who are engaged in basically trafficking of evil spirits. They're basically invoking evil spirits. He had this guy preach to his people. That is an act of apostasy, okay? The saints would immediately condemn this guy as a total antichrist apostate.
That's what happened. I condemn him too, but not as an apostate.
Well, that's why you deny that the church is one.
No, I'm simply denying the definition of the word.
Do you believe that heresy can be manifested by deed?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so what...
Anything can be manifested by deed.
Do you believe that a forfeiture of the faith, a departure from the faith, a separation from the church can be manifested by deed?
Sure.
Okay, so he engages in the worship of the Muslims in a mosque toward Mecca. How is that not an act of apostasy demonstrating that you're not Catholic?
Because it may have been a phony act intended to please one's host. It may have been an extreme case of etiquette. Improper, of course. Sinful, of course.
That's ridiculous. That is absurd. But even if that were true, in the early church, the people who apostatized, even under threat of extreme torture, were considered outside the church. They weren't considered Christians. In fact, some people were so appalled by the fact that they apostatized under threat of torture that they didn't even want them to be readmitted. Now, they were wrong. But the point is that they didn't even accept, as in the church, people who apostatized under threat of hideous, excruciating, mind-boggling tortures. And you're saying, well, he can pray toward Mecca in the mosque, like the Muslims, in a Muslim gesture, okay, because he didn't want to offend the Muslim infidel. That is ridiculous. I mean, it's so steeped in apostasy that I don't know what to say. I mean,